Good. I'm glad you were. These are important
Yeah.
skills because these are things you could put on your resume. You could say, I now have experience creating JMeter tests for CRUD applications.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to watch the video yet. What exactly is JMeter?
It's for performance and stress testing on your application.
Oh, okay.
Interface is kind of comparable to Postman in some ways, but it's a lot more configurable, so it can be kind of overwhelming. So in the video that I sent you guys, or that I published on YouTube and Twitch, I just went through like the important high level parts to get something working, and it looks
Mhm.
like this. So your local stress test would look like this. You know,
Hold on,
this
I'm
is
pulling you up now.
no, I'm going too fast.
Okay.
You gotta hurry up. So I'm just kidding. Local stress tests would look like this. These are each called thread groups. So we have one thread group for local host stress testing, and one for remote
Mhm.
stress testing. The cool thing is we can disable that, right? So we can run just the local if we want to, or we could run them both by enabling them both. And these are all inside of what's called a test plan. So that's the two high level components that you guys now know about: thread groups and test plans. And then within test plans, you have your HTTP requests. So this is kind of like what you see when you're in Postman. You
Yeah.
specify the whether it's localhost, the port number, whether it's HTTP um, or HTTPS, and then the path, the endpoint to whatever whatever endpoint you're trying to hit for your controller. Um, if you have headers, you have to click on Add, and then go to a config element, I believe, for HTTP header manager, and then you can add headers
Mhm.
to the request. So you can see here the create person request. It actually consumes a JSON object, but the only way it can this is valid is if we set in the HTTP header manager the content type to application / JSON, which in
Oh,
Postman we usually do by just going to here and selecting that and then this. But
okay.
but behind the scenes, we have that being set as a result. You can see these are actually hidden headers.
Yeah. Not to go on too big of a side tangent. How did you get the hidden headers to display?
I just clicked the button. It just right here.
Oh, okay, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, so you'd run your local host. Let me see. Where's my local host at?
Yeah, I might try that on my one app that I have deployed.
Yeah, do that.
The hide my pics. The only thing is like I don't do multi-threading. Like tasks get completed sequentially. Is that like does it only work on testing like apps that support multi-threading or
What do you mean by that? You don't do multi-threading? What is
I
what
mean like
technology are you using
so
for your
requests
web service?
aren't so I don't create new threads when
What
I'm
technology are you using for your web service?
um Java, Spring Boot.
It's built in. You there?
Yeah, I'm just thinking
Spring already handles requests in a multi-threaded way.
I know you're saying that, but I'm trying to remember when I was looking shit up. Uh, I'm gonna put a pin in that and look it up as soon as I
Sure.
have time
Let,
and bring
let
it
me
back
just
up.
finish. Yeah, let me finish what I'm doing
Yeah.
here. So you see that the application is running, right? Yes, see the application's running. If you want, I'll
Yep.
rerun it. Sure. Let's rerun it. Let's hit it in Postman, make sure it's good. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, it created something, hit it again, created another thing. Cool. Let's see if we can run a stress test on that create. So let me disable read all and enable create, and run and view the results. Looks like it ran only one time. That's not what I wanted it to do. Or did it? No, 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 no. It's still loading up. Or is it? Why is it not? Let me check to see. Hmm. It says it's running, but I don't see it. I don't see it looping. Now I usually click here. Aha. That's why.
Infinity,
Yep.
infinite, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So let me make sure I click this where it says loop count is infinite, right? Let's set it to be 3 threads. So 3 threads are going to be executed all at once, and it's going to continue to create 3 new threads of users to simulate that many people sending requests. And you'll see when I hit this create button and you view the results tree, which by the way, if you're doing this by yourself, you can right click, click on add, and then go to config element or a listener, and view results tree. That will allow you to view the results for each request that's being sent. But yeah, let me hit run, and look how fast that thing is going. That's sending a lot of requests. That is a lot of people that have been created. Let me hit stop. Okay. If I hit stop, we expect the last 3 requests were unfulfilled. That's because 3 requests went out all at once. 1, 2, 3 to create a person because we have it configured as 3 users, and it failed to complete that request for those 3 users because we were shutting it down at that point. So we kind of caught it. If you're wondering why those 3 failures are there, it's because we kind of caught it in between it trying to fulfill a request. All right, so let's click on this request. We can see that 8,913 users were created in that very short period of time. That's cool. If we go to Postman, because maybe you just don't trust it and you're more comfortable with reading it from here, we hit read all. You can see quite a bit of data pops up. If we go down to the bottom, 8,917 users. Cool. Yeah, we can actually right click here. We can add a listener and a summary report. And I want it to be a sibling of the results report. And when we run it now, it'll give us a better a graph view of what's happening as it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can always go to the results tree also to see on a
That's why this looks familiar. I fucked with this back in August a little bit.
Oh, really?
I'm looking
Why?
through the chat now. Look, it says, yeah, I'm doing some load testing. Memory use goes up during the test. Anyone familiar with Apache JMeter? Blah, blah, blah. And this is what I was thinking of. So I think, man, I swear I can remember reading up, like, you don't have to do multi-threading in your app. And I remember asking a bunch of questions because I was worried about memory usage. And I remember doing a bunch of research and saying, oh, I don't even need the fucking memory usage because I just don't allow multi-threading. I handle tasks 1 thread at a time sequentially.
Yeah, I guess you're
So
right.
like if a
I
bunch
guess
of
you're right though.
yeah, if a bunch of users are trying to do shit in my app, nah, you can't all do it at the same time. I'm gonna fucking handle the request as they come and they'll get handled in that order.
Yeah, true. But I think that your application would be able to handle them asynchronously. For example, if we look at the results tree, recall that I didn't add any multi-threading features. You'll see that this last user that was created, look at their ID. It says, I don't know if you can see that there. Can I zoom in? I can't. But it's ending in
Yeah, I can
710. This one's 708. That one's 709.
Uh-huh.
So they're not handled sequentially. 9, 8, 10. You know what I mean? Or if I go up to the top, 13, 14, 15. Whoops, hold on. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, 22. Here we go. 22, 21, 23, 24. I don't know. I don't really know how to answer these multi-threaded questions about Spring Boot. I got to do more investigation, I guess. But it seems to me that it's able to fulfill the requests. It's able to fulfill the requests really, really well. Now the true test comes in not from local stress testing, but really from remote stress testing, because this is when you deploy your application and you get to actually see what the experience will be like for your actual users. So the remote stress testing is still pretty much the exact same thing, The only thing that I changed for the configuration was for the HTTP request. You'll see the server name is now set to that instead of what it was before, which was localhost. And I also got rid of the port number. So port number is now blank, and this is the new IP address. So let me right click and add a listener for a summary report. Put it as a sibling as the view results tree. Oh, okay, right there. Okay. And let's see what happens if I disable this and clear and run. So you can see that render is a lot slower than our local host But
Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
some like throttling.
yeah, I also think that, because it's remote and we don't even know, I don't even know which data center this is deployed to. That could play a
Yeah,
big part of it too.
yeah, the
Um,
ping.
yeah. So there's a lot of things coming into play. But realistically, I think if you're getting, you know, what's the TPS you guys would estimate? How many transactions per second would you estimate are taking place here? I think like maybe one. Maybe
Yeah.
more than that. Maybe like
I'm definitely going to have to watch this app because I'd like to do some more testing on my servers. And like you said, it's not that mine couldn't handle that many requests like asynchronously. The issue is the memory usage because in my application, users upload files to be to be
yeah.
turned into Stego images, and they're stored in memory. So if I had a whole bunch of people concurrently using the app, it's going to use a shit ton of fucking memory. Whereas
Yes.
if I handle shit sequentially, it's like, no, you're gonna wait your turn when
Yeah.
someone else is done. Yeah.
Yeah. True. True. I've already pushed. I had left this running, and I forgot that I left it running at some point, and then
Hmm.
I got this email from, um,
Is that what the web service
yeah,
memory limit thing was?
yeah.
Yeah.
It says it's either caused by a spike in traffic, or an undersized instance for my current use case.
Was that from render or?
Yeah, from render.
Oh, okay,
So they restarted the app.
got it.
I tried to time the request. It seemed like it kind of bounced between like 1 to about maybe 6 or 7 a second.
Okay. If it's between 1 to 6, I'm gonna take the median of that, and I'm gonna assume that it's about 3, and then I'm gonna also assume that the TPS is close to this number, because I was hoping this was gonna say 3, but it did not. Now it's failing, so I think I brought down the server now. Yeah, it looks like it's not happy no more.
Yeah, too many requests.
Yeah.
Leon, I have a question. So, when you're doing a stress test, are you testing how many users can send a request within a second, or are you testing like how much the app could handle? What exactly are some of the
How
things that
much
you're
the
testing?
app can handle is really the big thing that we're really testing. So like Dean said, for his application, if he were to run this, he would experience not just an increase in traffic, but this mass increase in memory use, because every time a user comes in to uh, make a request, they're uploading an image. That image is stored in memory, which is why he says he handles it sequentially rather than asynchronously. So that would be something for him to test on his end. But in general, we just want to see if our application can consume requests from users. We want to, like, exactly like how you say, like how we see here. So it's really up to you when you say, what are we testing? We're testing, for example, I don't know, can it handle a hundred users coming in? Um, Maybe their traffic increases over time for the course of 90 seconds until it eventually reaches that 100 users. And I don't know, maybe it happens for like 500 times or something like that. That's a use case. Or in I think a more interesting and more general use case is if I've run this for X amount of time after having this ramp up period with 100 users, how long can my application sustain taking those incoming requests before I see an error take place? And that's where the summary report comes in really handy, because then you can see very quickly what the error percentage is for those requests. So if I come down to this summary report, you can see our error percentage on localhost was 0%. Obviously, we're fulfilling our own requests. Didn't even take very much time to send the requests and receive the response anyway. But when we go to the summary report over here, we can see that now we got 30% errors because of me overloading it. I don't know if I answered your question. I wasn't trying to dance, but I did.
No, it does. But
Okay.
I have another question. Sorry, I have my son in the background.
You're good.
What are some of the things that like contribute to slowing down the performance of an app?
Algorithmic performance. Data or memory allocation is another one. So we did an algorithm. We implemented an algorithm yesterday, 3 different ways. Andrew and Dean had a way to do it. I had a way to do it, and then Emmanuel had a way to do it also. And we all came up with these 3 different ways. Now, if those 3 different ways were put to a proper stress test, we would determine through some tool like this, perhaps, which of those 3 would be best suited to handle the requests. And in the case of Emmanuel, his required it to create a new instance of a matcher. He was using regex. And in that regex, it says, when you say pattern.compile, the compile method has a line of code that says new matcher, which means every time you invoke that compile method, it is creating a new instance of a matcher. So it expands its memory for each time it invokes that. And that can, consume memory. Whereas if he were able to take that matcher out somehow and store it as an instance variable, then that memory allocation would never need to take place. It could always just refer back to the same consistent matcher that's in memory, and we would see that the application should reflect a faster response time. Now, you might be wondering, like, damn, but how are we ever going to be able to identify where in the application these bottlenecks are? There are tools like Dynatrace that will tell us exactly what methods and what requests are taking the most amount of time in our application, and we can track it down from there.
Yeah, thanks. That makes a lot of sense. So, like, if you were using this type of app, like in your job, how would you like mock the data to your database, or would you actually how would you? Because you don't want to touch the actual database, correct? When you're testing.
No, you do. You do, because you want to simulate the user's experience. You want to see if your application is going to be able to handle this as if these are real users. So to answer your question
this
about...
is more like a in-production testing versus like Mockito, which is before you even get to production.
Yeah, this is like in the actual environment testing. Yeah, this is once the application has been deployed, we're going to run actual stress tests against it. And so there's something here. If we can add there should be data that we can add here. I can't remember where it is. If Jose was in here, he would know. He would know exactly. Or maybe is it... I can't remember, but somewhere in here we can add a CSV file, basically, that we can attach here, and it can read in the CSV column names as variables. So, for example, if the CSV column had, like, content type as a column, we could say $open curly bracket content type, the name of the column here, and it would read in that it would read in each row and fill fill in the content type with that value for that particular record, if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, y'all got to go through this and try it yourself, like for real, because you know.
We're doing something similar right now, Leon. The application that I created, we're pushing the prod just to test it, like, because we pushed it to pre-prod and it broke like reading like 200 something like records or something, or no, like I'm sorry, no, 2 million records.
Dang.
So then we had to bring it back.
Yeah.
And then do some fixes and push it back up and see what's up.
Was that a cat?
That's Snickers, bro.
Yeah, that's Snickers, man. You don't know?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's my cat.
Word.
Damn. So what were you going to talk about before we totally sidetracked you back onto JMeter?
Nothing. What do you mean? I wanted to talk
I
about
feel
JMeter.
like you were getting ready to talk about something, and then we sidetracked you.
No, I wanted to talk about JMeter.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay.
I wanted you guys to get this because, like, this is another thing you should add to your projects. I'm just saying shit that I know you guys won't listen to. But look, in the resources directory, right, Postman collection should go in there. And now also put your JMX file in there. Your JMeter file. This,
Yeah.
You save this right here in your test, resources, stress test.jmx.
No, this is good. Like I said, I'd looked into this before testing my app without even you mentioning it. So if I can work this in and do some proper testing, that's something I can add on the resume.
Yep.
And something that I'll actually get use out of.
Yep.
Yeah, Leon. Can you? Because I tested my first CRUD. How do you put that in the file? How do you put that in the actual application?
What do you mean, like right here?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
JSX
Yeah, how do you
or
do that? Yeah.
JMX.
So we'll do like this. We go file, save, and it should prompt you for where to save it. And you just make sure you save it. Let me see. Save test plan as.
In the root.
Not in the root. Under test resources. Test.
okay.
It's a test resource. You want to put it under test resources. Does that make sense, Mohammed?
Yeah, it does. And then how would you run it up from the actual app itself?
So that's going to require some Maven configuration in the pom.xml that I haven't gone over at all.
All right.
But to ordinarily, let me just close out of this. Ordinarily, you do like this. You say JMeter. Or do I do it from the command line? Let me see. I think it's JMeter. No. It is. But not from bash. You got to do it from command prompt. So I can say JMeter. Okay. JMeter pops up. Then we click over here. File. Open. Go to my directory is dev. Then it's spring. What is the name of it?
I think it's the micro.
The Spring Micro Monolith
Project
Project
template. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Source, test, resources, stress test, and it opens back up.
Nice. Yeah, thanks.
And then the same thing for your Postman collections. You know, you import or how do you open your Postman collections? Is it here or is it here? Or new collection?
New to export.
No, not that either. How do you import these damn things? Import.
Well, import implies there should be an export.
Yeah, the export takes place like this. You go over here and you click on export.
Okay.
But how do I import the collection is the question. You would think, I think you can do it here. Yeah, I think it's like just right here. So I can click on files, Postman collection like that. Yeah, see?
Okay.
Cool.
So once you import it, how do you put it in the project?
How do you what?
How do you put it to your? How do you store in your project once you import it?
Well, this was already on the project, so you can export from Postman like this,
Okay.
and then we export, and we put it source test resources Postman collection,
All right. Thanks.
and then I was just showing how you import it a second ago. So it's import, and then files, and then whoops, and then you find it and open.
Yo,
Oh yeah, wasn't Emmanuel talking about he wanted to make some project that would generate a collection JSON, or was that someone else?
Yeah, I think that was Emmanuel. What was it, Emmanuel? What are you creating?
yeah, I did that already. I'm just I'm trying.
Yeah,
to
I'm done
actually-
with that shit.
Not- no, I'm just trying to upload it to Maven. What's it called?
Maven Central.
Yeah. I'm struggling with that, but I'm working on it.
Word. That's not an easy one. Not an easy thing to do.
But yeah, basically what I was doing was, so these are corresponding to controller endpoints, right? Somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I was doing is I created a plugin, a Maven plugin that if you were to like add it to your project, and you run Maven, I think compile, it'll generate a Postman collection JSON in your target folder that you can just copy and then import it into Postman, and it'll have all of this based off of your controllers and stuff.
Yeah.
So just saves you the time of having to create this JSON, which you don't have to since Leon did, but yeah.
Okay. What else we need? What else?
Also hi.
Hey. Emmanuel, take it away.
You for real?
Yeah, what do you got?
What? Dude, what are you talking about?
You got something interesting to tell them?
Dude, no, I'm done. I'm done talking.
Oh.
Plus, weren't you in the middle of something?
No, that was it. I literally just concluded the J meter. Let me